Color is at the heart of visual storytelling, and for editors, colorists, and filmmakers, a reference monitor is one of the most important tools in the workflow. In 2026, professional monitors are evolving fast, with QD OLED displays challenging traditional LCD panels, and new HDR technologies improving color accuracy, brightness, and overall image precision. Whether you're editing a documentary in editing softwares or building a professional 4K HDR grading setup, choosing the right monitor is critical. In this guide, we'll be looking at the top 5 best monitors for color grading in 2026. After comparing dozens of displays across different price ranges, these are the ones that stood out the most for color accuracy, image quality, and overall value. We also made sure to include options for different budgets, so whether you're just getting started or building a professional studio setup, there should be something here for you. As always, links to every monitor featured in this video will be in the description below, so make sure to check them out. And if you find this video helpful, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into the list. We start our list with the ASUS ProArt PA279CRV. This monitor is the starting point for photographers and video editors who want a color-accurate 4K screen without breaking the bank. This budget model comes with a factory-calibrated color-accurate display that delivers a Delta E score under 2. If you are a professional, you already know a delta value below 2 means what you see on screen correctly reflect the true-to-life color of the specific scene. And bonus to that, it covers full DCI P3 and Adobe RGB color gamuts out of the box, which is a remarkably strong result for an entry-level professional screen that let you start creating without the need for calibration. Compared to other ProArt models in this price bracket, you're now getting a much more generous 96-watt USB-C port with power delivery and daisy chaining over DisplayPort, making it a genuinely useful single-cable hub for modern laptops. Ergonomically, the stand handles all the basics well, with it supporting tilt, swivel, pivot into portrait mode, and a good range of height adjustment, so it adapts to your posture without any fuss. Where you start to feel the compromises is in the physical execution and when you try to push beyond SDR work. The on-screen display buttons feel genuinely cheap and unresponsive. The Display HDR 400 certification delivers no meaningful HDR brightness, and there is no hardware calibration support, limiting you to software profiling. At a typical street price around $450, it's a case of getting excellent core image quality in exchange for a basic feature set and a plasticky user experience. Moving up in size, we get the LG 32UQ850VW. This monitor addresses that hardware calibration limitation head-on and still keeps the cost surprisingly low. Its color accuracy score is similarly solid, with a factory Delta E under 2, and it adds a proper hardware calibration pipeline through LG's free Calibration Studio software, which is a genuine step up for anyone who needs to maintain accuracy over time. What you're getting over earlier LG ultrafine displays is a far deeper contrast ratio of 2000 to 1, thanks to nano IPS black technology, making shadow detail feel richer and more natural than any previous LG monitor in this class. The ergonomic package includes tilt, a generous height range, and the ability to pivot into portrait mode, though it notably lacks a swivel function, which forces you to move the entire base if you need to angle the screen. The compromises appear in uniformity and color space handling. The sRGB clamp can over-constrain the gamut slightly out of the box, which can be adjusted with calibration, and the lack of a polarizer layer means blacks can look a little hazy in a bright room. At roughly $1,000, you are trading some refinement for a big, calibratable screen with improved contrast. If you are willing to pay considerably more for photographic precision, the BenQ SW272U is built around a factory-calibrated color accuracy score of Delta E 1.5 or better, with full coverage of Adobe RGB and DCI P3. The key generational improvement over the outgoing BenQ SW271C is a noticeably better anti-reflective coating that makes editing in a bright room far more comfortable, a wireless hotkey puck with better ergonomics, and a 90-watt USB-C port that turns the monitor into a true single-cable docking station, something the previous generation struggled to deliver. Ergonomics are excellent and complete, with smooth tilt, swivel, pivot, and height adjustment giving you every positioning option you could want. The compromises are the first IPS panel that lacks any form of local dimming, meaning HDR content is not a realistic use case, and it is not a true 10-bit panel, meaning it cannot show the full amount of smooth color shades that professional HDR displays can. Priced around $1,500, it demands that you value the refined color workflow and hardware calibration over raw panel technology. For those who have been waiting for OLED to mature into a trustworthy professional tool, the ASUS ProArt PA32U CDM represents the most dramatic leap in the entire lineup, moving from IPS-based ProArt screens to a third-generation QD OLED panel. The color accuracy score is exceptional right out of the box, with a delta E under 1 paired with true per-pixel blacks and a genuinely usable HDR experience that peaks near 1,000 nits. What you're getting over any previous ASUS professional monitor is a transformative combination of infinite contrast, a 240Hz refresh rate that makes every interface movement feel liquid smooth, and a color volume that IPS simply cannot match. Ergonomically, the stand provides full tilt, swivel, pivot, and height adjustment, though the monitor itself is relatively heavy and deep on the desk. The compromises here are entirely different from the other displays, and you need to know about them going in. The first is that the monitor has an active cooling fan that runs continuously and is clearly audible in a quiet editing room. Connectivity is also limited to HDMI and Thunderbolt 4, with no standard DisplayPort input, and OLED's automatic brightness limiting means luminance stability shifts more than on IPS. At a cost of around $2,200, you are paying a premium for a true next-generation image, but you must accept those unique OLED trade-offs. Finally, the Eizo ColorEdge CG3019X sits in an entirely separate category, built for broadcast and print professionals who depend on absolute color certainty. Its built-in self-calibration system uses a motorized sensor housed in the bezel, giving you a color accuracy score that stays at a delta E under 1 over time, without any external tools. And the panel stabilizes within 3 minutes of startup, a speed that earlier Eizo generations simply could not match. Ergonomically, you get the full range of tilt, swivel, pivot, and height adjustment, though the design itself is utilitarian and bulky with thick bezels that look dated on a modern desk. The compromises are physical, financial, and practical. The monitor lacks any form of USB-C connectivity, which means you must connect separate cables for video and data. This also means it doesn't offer power delivery, it also lacks daisy chaining, and the asking price also sits in an entirely different league at roughly $3,500. You only go down this path when color accuracy directly drives your revenue, and you need the monitor to maintain itself with zero downtime. As always, links to every monitor featured in this video are available in the description below, so make sure to check them out. And if you found the video helpful, consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.